Welcome to Tammy Nation. Let's go.
I've been running from 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go home.
Good early evening or late afternoon, everybody. I am back to give some news headlines and wrap up this week with some news stories and give some updates on some other situations. I'm back a little earlier than I thought I would be, but however, that's a good thing because then we can all just head off and get our weekend started, right? So let's go ahead and get headed on out with these headlines and what's going on. The first thing that came out today is the passing of Dianne Feinstein. She passed away today, aged 90 years old. She served over 3 decades for her Senate seat there. And, it's pretty amazing. 3 decades is a long time, over 30 years. We all know that we've been talking about term limits and stuff to try to get that passed. I think that's a brilliant idea. 30 years is a long time for sure. But condolences to her family. At this point in time now, it's up to Governor Newsom. He's going to appoint someone as a successor to serve out the remainder of her term. We'll have to wait and see who that is going to be. Also, the other thing out is there's no dollars to the Ukraine this time around in the defense bill. It will be dealt with in a separate appropriations bill. 101 Republicans voted for it. Marjorie Taylor Greene did post for weeks, I've been calling for taxpayer funding to Ukraine to be pulled out of our appropriations bills. We know that Matt Gaetz has been fighting for it as well. And it says the House answered my call that we successfully voted to strip $300 million to Ukraine from the Defense Appropriations Act. She said this is a victory for American people and for peace. But in the meantime, this is the controversy we have going on in our government, extreme polar opposites, because while she's happy about that, fighting for that, keeping the dollars here to serve the American people, our taxpayer dollars, instead of sending more and more out to Ukraine, Mitch McConnell came up to the podium and was stating that providing assistance for Ukrainians to defeat the Russians, that's the number one priority for the United States right now. So we see there are polar opposites. How can he really come out and say, he believes that that is our number one priority with all the challenges that Americans are facing in this country. He believes providing Ukrainians assistance is what we need to keep as our top priority. Hey, Cindy O, it's good to see you. So that's the difference between the two sides. So that's why I say, there's light and dark. There's no gray area anymore. When you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, and a few other conservative Republicans, there's about 5 of them, I think, that are fighting to keep our taxpayer dollars here, fighting to keep appropriation bills separate, one thing at a time, instead of a vote up or down on a whole entire bill, which Matt Gaetz has been focusing on for a while now. The bulk appropriations bill, it's a vote up or down. That's it. So it either everything's accepted or everything's wiped out. The deadline is tomorrow. So we'll see what's going on, what will happen with that, because there is a bill that's out there to keep them open and the government funded through October 17th, I believe it is. But I haven't heard any news on that yet, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Also, Jesse Waters, the next headline is Jesse Waters reported new evidence is out tying Dr. F. I'm not going to say the names. I'm going to have a little bit of that silly talk to code talk per se, so we don't get censored, because they are literally wiping out a lot of people who are doing different Christian stuff. And obviously the stuff that I've been covering on and off for 2 years, they're back at it. As 2024 is getting close, the censoring is getting tighter. So bear with me. I think that you guys are going to be able to make out what I'm saying. But back to the story, Jesse Waters, he reported new evidence with Dr. F that, let's call him the three-letter agency that cover up of the illness. The three-letter agency begins with a C. Last week, there was a whistleblower that claimed the three-letter agency people were paying off others to bury the lab leak theory, that Dr. F and all of them were saying that there was no such truth to that. And now from the House committee, they're investigating the pandemic origins. So Dr. F, the new evidence that came out, not just from the whistleblower, but Dr. F was apparently escorted in and out of the three-letter agency headquarters without a record of entry and participated in the analysis to influence the agency's review. So the committee is now ordering HHS to hand over documents detailing all of Dr. F's movements during the pandemic in and out of the three-letter agency controlled sites. So another thing that was considered conspiracy and all this other stuff, now they're looking for documentation to put forth to find out why was Dr. F in and out of these headquarters without documenting that he was there. And there's a whistleblower that came out on him. So this is going to be an interesting, I think, little turn to the tide, because we know that they're getting ready to roll out the next so-called illness prevention thing in the arm. And we've seen that the NFL guy, Kelsey, has also just come out with a new ad campaign promoting it. There's also another ad out. I don't know if you guys have seen or not. I just saw it myself today with a bunch of doctors that are in this commercial, and they're just saying over and over, "You trust us. You trust us." Basically saying over and over that you trust us with your health. You trust us with your health, trying to influence us to go ahead and get that 2-for-1 that Kelsey was promoting. So now they got a commercial with a bunch of doctors. Well, we don't know if they're actors or maybe they're real doctors. It doesn't matter. The point is they're saying that you trust us. Don't question us. Here we go. Let's roll it out. Hey, Chris Gilbert, good to see you. So let's keep an eye out for that as well, because that was a new thing that has been rolling out. That was breaking news on Jesse Waters' show. Also, this I briefly touched on Liberty Warrior Nation, I think last night, and on my show a couple days ago. But it was regarding the New York judge that's trying to close down Mr. T's businesses, that Letitia James appointed a judge, not a jury, to come in and try to close down all his businesses. So Don Jr. came out, and he was on Charlie Kirk's show, and he had some comments about this action, giving more details to what is going on. So he said, disregarding what some of the largest brokers in Florida say, and just to put a number on it, for example, Mar-a-Lago, you, DJT is saying, overstated the value of it, because we think, and this is the judge and what they're going against Mr. T for, they are saying that Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million, that he overstated the value of it. I believe the number was $33 million that Trump said it was worth. But Don said Mar-a-Lago is on 20 acres of the most spectacular properties in the world. We know how glamorous Mar-a-Lago is. And he said there is, within a half a mile, a 2.2 acre property that's not even on the ocean, that has nothing on it. It's got jungle type land on it. And he said that is on the market currently for $150 million. But you're saying that Mar-a-Lago is only worth $18 million. So he's like, what's really happening here? So Donald Trump Jr. was saying that we're going to summary judgment on it. Basically, what they're doing is he's saying that they do not want a jury to be involved in that because it doesn't fit their narrative, that they're going to disregard the expert testimony, which is all these loan people, all these brokers that are in Florida that deal with these kind of properties and values. We know that no bank is going to give anybody a loan just because we say what we think our value for our home is. There's experts and consultants for this. So he said that they're going to disregard that. They're going to disregard the witnesses. They're going to try to bring Don and Eric into it, even though all the witnesses have already stated they have nothing to do with the statement of financial condition on their, but it's their last name's Trump. So basically, because their last name's Trump, they've got to be punished. He said it's the opposite for Hunter, who can take millions from China. We know all about Hunter. We don't even have to go there. But they're going after Don Jr. Trump and his assets, and Eric Trump for these falsehoods regarding his assessments and his loans and all that. And we have to keep in mind here, there's not a single bank that wasn't paid back in full with these loans, including interest, and there's no victim. So there, DJT Jr. is trying to figure out who the victim is here. No one knows who it is. They're not explaining it to him. And he's saying that, you have the judge that took the attorney general in New York who campaigned on a campaign of going after Trump. Remember, she said she was going to get Trump. This was before she was even in office. She was saying all kinds of crazy things about Mr. T. And the judge actually gave her significantly more than she was even trying to get by bypassing a jury and on the basics of total disregard of the experts. So he said, I don't understand this, that he's never heard of anything like this when it comes to business, lawsuits. And he says it's like they're out there trying novel ideas because they know they can get away with it in places like New York, Chicago, and some other cities that they're using weaponization of the government, which we've heard that many times, to go after their political enemies. And then it's all designed to go this way. So we'll have to find out more on that as it comes down the road here. But, it's basically another nothing burger, because how do you go after somebody who's already paid all the loans back and all the banks back? And, there's policies that go through, there's paperwork that gets signed. So they're just drumming all this up. The other thing that's out there is, this is kind of concerning. The New York City Mayor Adams expanded housing vouchers for the migrants. He signed an emergency order. And how many emergency orders have we heard of in the last 2 or 3 years? It's crazy. But he signed an emergency order allowing qualifying residents of the city's 5 boroughs to use their taxpayer-funded housing vouchers statewide. He states the changes would allow longtime New Yorkers to move out of the city's shelter system to other parts of the state with more affordable housing options. While, what are they going to do with the space? They're going to open up the city's sheltering system to the tens of thousands of immigrants who have arrived into the city, because as we know, it is now a crisis. He's been facing pushback on all these different relocations of the immigrants since earlier in the summer. There's 30 counties that have passed restrictions on the migrant locations. And to me, and I'm sure to you guys watching, it's ludicrous, because we really have never gone to this much effort or financial strain to support our own homeless people, let alone to open places up to aid in the effort and get them jobs, financial help, or therapy. There's so many, unfortunately, of our own homeless that face mental disorders, PTSD, and everything else that really need some help. A lot of them have served our country. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be having and experiencing the freedoms that we do now. So when the New York City mayor is really putting the needs of these immigrants before us, we have to really ask ourselves why. And we've already talked about how a lot of them are middle-aged men, but they're pushing seniors out of housing complexes, apartment complexes, and now they're moving the so-called long-term New Yorkers out of the shelter system so they can bring in the immigrants and put them in our sheltering systems. So I don't know. It's just so maddening. So this out regarding Arizona. Somebody in my morning show that I did was asking me to check out about the Arizona Treasurer Kimberly Lee's acting as serving governor. But we're going to start with a little statement that was a positive news from Carrie Lake from Arizona. She said that the election appeal and motion to expedite is finally filed. Now it's in the hands of the Court of Appeals. So what it states is September 26, 2023, Abe Hamadeh released the following statement regarding filing an appeal and a motion to expedite. He says, my legal term has just filed our appeal on our election challenge and motion to expedite. Arizonians deserve to have their lawfully elected attorney general to hold that office, and our state constitution demands it. With the numerous irregularities in the E word, the initial trial, and numerous delays at the trial court, it's long overdue that the judiciary expedite and take their claims seriously, that thousands of lawful votes remain uncounted in the closest election in Arizona with the biggest recount discrepancy in history. Our democracy demands honesty, transparency, and accountability in order to rebuild the trust so that many Arizonians have lost in our elections. Our case seeks to enfranchise over 9,000 voters who voted on Election Day and did their part to have a say in their government. The constitutional right to vote matters, and their votes deserve to be counted. I will continue to fight to ensure that the will of the people is honored and that their laws are upheld. So that was his statement and his release on this. So now we'll see what the Arizona Court of Appeals has to say about this. But Carrie Lake was really happy that that finally got posted and put in. And now we go to the Katie Hobbs thing that was going on. This has been going on and off this week. It's pretty weird and bizarre. But basically, Arizona Treasurer Kimberly Yee did a press release and statement regarding serving as acting governor. And her statement stated, I've been notified that I'll be serving as acting governor beginning later this evening until mid tomorrow morning. While I am pleased to step into this role, I will refrain from naming directors to the 13 agencies that currently have vacancies and will not call the Arizona legislature into session to confirm them. That being said, I do hope when the governor returns to Arizona, she will promptly name qualified directors to these important state agencies and remove the legal uncertainty that exists of all regulatory actions taken by the agencies. I expect to see a swift resolution to this matter so we can get back to getting the work done for Arizona taxpayers. The people of Arizona deserve leaders who follow the rule of law. So what's interesting is Biden was there yesterday, I believe, to announce the creation of the John McCain Library, and there was no mention of him sitting down with Katie or Kimberly. And my question is, what causes somebody to step down for 24 hours? The only thing that I could find was a resign to run law, which states one could step down from the office before they can run for another office or campaign for president. So there were also rumors circulating around that Katie was indicted by the Arizona Senate under RICO violations, which entailed a lot of offenses. But that was, I guess, proven to be a viral rumor. And also the state treasurer excluded 2 Hobbs appointees from an investment meeting, citing murky status. So I'm not sure what's going on with all of this yet, because it's kind of all this stuff all over the place. And there was no reason that I found for the stepping down. Like I said, there's a lot of theories and rumors that are floating around. Fox News put out a statement as well, but they've since retracted it, apparently. But they said Hobbs didn't disappear. She was in D.C. on Wednesday for a short meeting on the border issues with Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas. The erroneous report was later changed by Fox regarding the rumors floating around. So supposedly she was in a meeting Wednesday, and then there was another article that came out in some paper that said that she was actually the library, the induction of the John McCain Library, but I haven't seen anything on that other than that. When I looked up more info about her, I haven't seen any statement from her websites or anything currently. And then as of like 9 o'clock this morning, the latest that I found was she was still acting governor. So I'm not really sure what is going on with that, you guys. There's just a lot of this all over the place with different things. It was true though about her people that were the investment meeting, these people that she appointed that weren't allowed to attend because of murky status, meaning they're investigating them for some underhanded stuff. So that's why they weren't allowed to attend this so-called meeting. So this is for sure a story that we need to follow up with next week, or if anything breaks this weekend, we'll see. But then this is a little bit of an interesting, did you catch this? That I wanted to go over. It may be something, it may not be, but did you catch what T said in South Carolina? This kind of gave me pause. Maybe he misspoke, but maybe it means something. I don't know. But in a quick little part of his little rally speech that he gave, he said, this is it verbatim, 5 months from now, okay, 5 months from now. So keep that in mind, and then we can add 5 months on our fingers. So he said, so less than 5 months from now, we will defeat Crooked Joe Biden and take back our country and make America great again. So what is less than 5 months from now? What does that take us to? I just found that kind of weird. He doesn't misspeak very often, but it also gives me pause to what does that mean? You know, I said I did my finger count on what that means, but that was a statement. He said, so less than 5 months from now, we will defeat Crooked Joe Biden, take back our country, and make America great again. So we'll have to keep an eye and an ear out on that and see if that comes to anything. Also, if you missed this, Elon Musk showed up at the border at Eagle Pass. I was talking about that earlier this week as far as what was going on at Eagle Pass with the Biden administration instructing the Border Patrol agents to cut away the razor wire fence that the Texas governor Abbott had put up and paid for and put up to prevent crossings across the river there. However, there was visual proof, video proof of his Biden's rules in these Border Patrol agents stating they were told to cut the fence away, the wire fence away. So Elon Musk showed up there and he was giving live video. He was donning some reflective aviator glasses and a black cowboy hat. And he was there to go around, he stated, to talk to the major officials and law enforcement to see and show us and hear what is actually going on there. He said it's unfiltered, raw live feed. I watched some of it. He stated, obviously, which I think a lot of us agree on this, and I can agree with him, I will say, that legal, good, hardworking migrants to come here through the proper procedures, absolutely, yes, we understand that. It's controlled. We can make sure who they are coming through. We can make sure there's no illnesses they're carrying to pass on to us in this country. We make sure that it's families. We make sure that it's not people that are not belonging with children, bringing children in, let's just say. It doesn't necessarily have to be middle-aged men that are coming in by the boatloads, trainloads. What is a bunch of men doing if it's supposedly families seeking asylum from these traumatic countries? But he said, I believe that if it's legally and lawfully done, I agree with it. He said, but if it's done illegally, he doesn't agree with it. He says the law is there for a reason. And it's true. The law is there for a reason. So when our own administration goes against the law that was put in there in the first place to keep the surrounding border towns along Eagle Pass and everywhere along Texas safe, the citizens safe, and our own administration takes them away, we have to question why would they do that? You know, it goes past just taking our jobs. There are different diseases and different things that people bring in because they're not being checked. They're not being quarantined. They're not being anything. They're just given a free ride to where they need to go or want them to go. And then they're being dropped off to infiltrate so many communities. And I said earlier this week, and I'm sure you guys have seen, that a lot of these so-called sanctuary cities that were all talking about, we are supportive of this and we know that we need to be sanctuary cities as for a good cause. Now they're coming out, a couple of the mayors and or governors in Chicago and New York are stating that we're over inundated. This is a crisis. We can't handle this. We can't keep this up. However, back when this first started in Title 42 was actually still enacted, none of them were worried about it. They said, we have it under control. It's not going to be a crisis. It's not going to be a big deal. You can go back and look up video on it. So now here they are, they're eating their own words because there is absolutely no control, and it's just a free-for-all, and it's people coming from everywhere. So I'm going to give kudos to Elon Musk for going down there and doing, to me, a great job that he didn't have to do. Kamala is actually, that's her job, and he's doing a better job than her. So I feel like it's a clown world that we're living in, because our own representative, whose job it is to make sure that it's secure, and all these people that have said it's secure don't even take the time to go down there and give us the truth. It takes the Elon Musks of the world, or we got Frank Lopez Jr., who's the border patriot, who did work in the border, who's retired now, but still is showing the border day in and day out and fighting the good fight down there for the people in the area. Because I can't imagine what it is like to live along the border there, where everything is happening right at that's ground zero. That's where it's happening right at that point. Hey, Rising Phoenix, it's so good to see you. So I can't imagine what they're dealing with. I can't imagine feeling safe around there, having your children around there. When you see the vast amounts, 10,000 of them going through at a time, and you have property or your home, or you're just trying to live in your community around there, it seems so wrong for these families. There can be no rest for them day or night, knowing that nothing is being done to stop them. So thank you, Elon Musk, for heading down there and showing the true story of what's going down there. And we need more people like you to go down there and show the truth, so we can get the word out to everybody and anybody. Because a lot of times people bury their heads in the sand, or don't believe it coming from, say, me, or say for Trump, or say from, somebody else. It takes a variety of people that have a variety of different people in their audience, people that follow them, to spread the message largely and vastly. That's why we always say, make sure that you do your best to talk to the people around you, to educate you people and stuff, because we need to reach everybody that we possibly can and show them the truth. But they're not always going to take it just from me, or maybe just from you, or maybe just Elon Musk. But the more the people that we have involved, the more likely we are going to get more people involved. So incredible job with that. And then the last little story I have, I couldn't believe this. So if you got a spare $83,140, you can send your son to Princeton. And what they're going to do is they're going to send them in the training program, so your son can become a drag queen. And it is only $83,140 for a year. So it says that the Princeton Drag Queen Training Program is open to all undergraduate and graduate students interested in the world of drag. So it's $140,000 to send your student to Princeton University, and that's for 1 year. So 4 years in this Ivy League school is going to just set you back a mere $332,560. So chump change, right? We all have that kind of money. But that's the program that they have offering out there to people now, or your sons, not your daughters, your sons. So if you want to invest in that, if your son doesn't know what he wants to be, maybe he can become a drag queen. And I'm saying that tongue in cheek. That's a phenomenal amount of money, and I can't believe that that's even a program. But hey, what do I know, right? I guess I'm from the conservative older generation. But anyhow, I just thought that was mind-boggling. But that's about all I have for right now, you guys. I'm going to wrap this up and get my weekend off to a fun start, and take some time down and enjoy time off the news and everything going on in this crazy world, and just get out there and have some fun with friends and some fresh air and some good food together and good conversation. And I hope each and every one of you get to do some of that this weekend too. Get some downtime for yourselves, and then spend some time with those you love and care about. Share a laugh, share a good time, kind of take your head out of all this chaos going on and just give yourself a little bit of a break, even if it's only for a day, because it will refresh you. So with that, love you guys. Thank you all for joining me. Those of you who are catching this later, I appreciate you as well. And you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you soon. And good to see you, Miss Rising Phoenix. Bye-bye.